So we heard that in order to grab your viewers' attention, you needed a hook. So here you go. Is your attention sufficiently captivated? I thought so. Now that the hook is set, let's reel in the line. So the civil rights movement really took flight during the 1950s and 1960s thanks to the leadership of activists such as Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. They both were polarizing figures during their time advocating for equal rights. Let's take a closer look at their approaches and influences. So right off the bat, King and Malcolm X were pretty different people. King was a short Baptist preacher from Atlanta, Georgia. Malcolm X was about 6'3" and a member of the Nation of Islam. Martin Luther King's approach was directed towards peaceful protesting. He urged African Americans to speak out with words and to make points through simple and nonviolent gestures. An example of this was the Montgomery bus boycott, when thousands of activists refused to patronize public transportation in order to protest the Jim Crow laws regarding bus seating. King also supported the sit-in movement that began in Greensboro, North Carolina. Malcolm X saw things in a different light. For most of his political life, he was a member and proponent of the Nation of Islam, an extremist group. Many of their radical beliefs were that blacks were the original people of the world, that white people are devils, and that blacks are superior and the white race was imminently doomed. As you can see, Malcolm X took a much more bold and controversial approach to the issue of civil rights in the United States. If it helps you remember, the X in his name can stand for extreme. He sometimes advised the African American population to not only defend themselves, but also to advance by any means necessary. So yes, he was a man of strong opinion and radical ideals. But then again, King was full of strong opinions as well. Both were very effective speakers and amassed a large following. Just take a look at Martin Luther King Jr.'s March on Washington and I Have a Dream speech. Both were widely attended and received significant attention and credit throughout the country. Malcolm X spoke at many conventions and reached out to a large number of African Americans. Although they didn't see eye to eye on many of their policies, King and Malcolm X were two men who really buoyed the civil rights movement during a controversial time in the United States. Both were eventually assassinated in the 1960s for their work in civil rights. However, their ideas and hopes lived on and would help contribute to the gaining of equal rights for African Americans. To finish up, these two men were giants of the 1960s civil rights movement. King pushed for peaceful disobedience, while Malcolm X pressed for radical change. Although King would have a greater and more lasting impact on civil rights, Malcolm X was still a very influential figure that attempted to propose a different route to resolving the civil rights issue. Thanks for watching.